Let's help you out. So you are on the fire poison until 250, right?
Yes, I'm fire poison level 250.
And you want to continue that one and start your next chapter because you were playing some other characters, I think, right?
I'm trying to decide between fire poison, Scardor, or paladin.
Mm-hmm.
Is the three I've been playing lately. Right now I'm finishing my Legion board is almost done. I'm missing 4 characters, are all at 140, but one of them's at 0 because I'm gonna burn it on the next era,
We can burn 0.
or not 0, but it's level 0 because I haven't
Oh,
made
okay, yeah, okay.
it.
Yeah.
It's the Hu Long, I think,
Oh, young,
that
yeah.
new class. Because I joined like 3 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
and those 2 characters came out that never were out when I rejoined. So
Mm-hmm.
they're which is Adele and Hulong.
Mm-hmm.
That's why I only showed you my main board because I have them all at 200.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I figured there's no point of showing every single character.
Yeah, it's over 8K. Then you pretty much have everything at 200. Yeah. Okay. All right. All right. Yes. So what kind of Okay, so like that's your situation. So you were at 250 and you stayed at 250 for a while, just working hard on your Legion to get past 8K and to get mostly everything to 200, and now you want to like start progressing with the Mage again. Is that kind of?
Yeah, I think I want to. I'm thinking about sticking with the mage. So I got 250 before the 275 update came out.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of grinded myself to get to the 250. Kind of wanted the chair, but then they left the chair anyways.
Mm-hmm.
Then I kind of quit afterwards, and then came back like 4 months ago,
Mm-hmm.
give or take. So trying to decide on my main. I thought about my mage, so I thought might as well get a progression session and see where it stands.
Yep. So where does it stand? What are you? What kind of content are you able to participate in? What are you looking forward to participating in and working towards?
I mean, I'm able to kill Domain and Lotus. Not Lotus. It's I think it's Domain and Lotus.
Mm-hmm.
Solo on normal. It's a little edgy because it gets pretty close with the deaths.
Okay.
Otherwise, Helix is or Helix Galix, I could kill by myself. That one's get close. I have to like cheat that corner spot in order to make sure I can hit him.
Mm-hmm.
But otherwise, I can't really do any of the other bosses after them.
And have you done any of those in parties?
I haven't joined any parties. Been focusing on Legion,
Right.
just grinding Legion a lot lately.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, just been focusing Legion a lot. So, I haven't tried the like hard mode yet or anything like that.
Mm-hmm. And what will you be wanting to work towards? Like, which kind of bosses do you really? Is there anything particular you want to achieve, or do you just want to, in general, just grow and increase the amount of stuff you can do just organically, or is there something you specifically want to work towards?
I do want to work towards like the in-game bosses. Maybe not the Black Mage, but head towards that way.
Mm-hmm. So, like the
I know
Tenebris bosses.
Yeah, so like Versilla, I seen Gloom, normal Lucid, normal Will,
Mm-hmm.
heads towards that direction.
Yeah, so it would be like normal, Lucid and Will, and then I guess then hard Lucid and Will. And then you'd get like Gloom, Varicella, Darknell, and then the hard versions of Gloom and Darknell, and then the Black Mage would be after that kind of thing. So like everything up until like Darknell, would you say? Like normal versions?
Yeah, yeah, I'd say normal versions.
Mm-hmm.
And first you need to do the normals and switch the hards after.
Yep.
But yeah, head that way.
Okay. And have you had any practice at all on any of these bosses, like Lucid and Will, or completely new?
I've been practicing on Easy Lucid? Easy
Mhm.
Lucid. But been doing it by myself.
Yeah, so you're kind of gated by the golem spawn.
I could almost kill her, like quarter of her health before she kills me. So
In the first
otherwise,
phase
I
or
haven't
second phase?
I think the first phase.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, there's a whole
So
transition where she starts flying around in the second phase. But she's got like 10 bars, right?
she has a lot of bars.
Yeah.
I just know there's a lot of colors.
She'd be a rapper. Well, okay, sorry. Jesus. Okay. Yeah, but those bosses are just not designed for solo play. So, you have to be super, super overpowered to be able to solo those bosses. So it's not like a realistic, it's not a really realistic goal to set for yourself. So I guess the main thing that would hold you back from being able to go to, because like normal lucid, normal will, hard lucid, those would pretty much just be like a matter of practicing and finding a party to do those things with around your level. We'll look at the equip specifically and see if there is some like major gain we have to make. Possibly we need to work on some stuff to get you to hard lucid, but like for the normal ones, should definitely be in the wheelhouse. It's all just a matter of practicing and finding a party. The thing for the hard bosses would be for hard lucid, probably have to check your BA. I don't know if you've done one of those recently.
BA. I'm not sure what that is.
A battle analysis, where you like check how much damage you can do on a dummy. That way you can kind of gauge what kind of damage you bring to a party, which is specifically important if you're trying to do hard lucid, because in the end there's the third phase that's unique to hard lucid, where she's like stuck in place for 40 seconds and you have to kill the 10 bars that she has in that phase within the time limit. If you don't, then the whole run just fails. So you need to make sure that when you put a party together for hard lucid, that the whole party together has enough burst damage, you know, depending on if you're a very burst heavy character, more support character, or more DPM character, that you have like a good mix and match of different functions in the party to make sure that you can get to the third phase, and then once you get to the third phase that you can destroy that one. Otherwise the whole run is kind of, you know, the whole run kind of fails. Of course you'll have to, you know, test run it with a new party the first few times to see if it's doable, but if it's not doable, then some people might have to upgrade, or you might have to switch the team composition up a bit.
Okay. The only time I use the battle analysis is during the guild PQs.
Right, yeah, just to flex. Well, do you know how much you run there?
I can't remember off the top of my head.
Because I could compare it with mine maybe, and then do like a ballpark estimate. Although
I was thinking I do like a quarter of your damage.
Mm-hmm.
Because I usually watch your stream when I do it to compare our damage, because I want to try to get up there.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my damage is like a quarter.
So
of
like
what you're doing.
So you're doing like maybe like 25 to 30 trill?
I think somewhere
Does that sound
around
right?
that ballpark.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe a little less.
Maybe a little less. Because you do have your character does have burst, but you also have very short cooldown 5th job skills, which for the prolonged duration, I don't know how I can compare those numbers. But like if you do want to do a BA test, what you do is you buy the low defense dummy from with dojo points from the dojo shop, and then does green pot affect your speed for skills and stuff?
I have no idea.
You don't know?
I don't use those pots unless I'm power leveling a character, to be honest.
Right, you know. Because I think you want to get attack speed +1 in your ability, right?
Yes, it was like that until I started doing those trade carries to power up my meals.
Mm-hmm.
So I switched it to drop so I could get other people drop.
I see, yeah. Well, I mean, since the ability wants attack speed, I'm going to assume that attack speed does something for you, and therefore green pot does something for you. That's going to be my assumption for this. Might want to double check that with another mage, though. But
yeah, they want attack speed on the first line and 38% buff duration on the second line.
Yeah, for sure, for infinity. Oh, it makes a difference for paralyzed, someone says. Makes that one faster. Yeah, so the only buffs you give yourself is just a green pot, and then basically that's it. All the other stuff is just like your self buffs that you have in your character, and you pop the dummy. You make like the straw dummy. There's two. There's like a straw and a wood one. The wood one has way more defense, so number will come up much slower. And the other one is and then you summon it at level. Fuck, I always forget, guys. Is it level? Do you summon it at level 230? For some reason, I always forget what level to summon it at. 230. Yeah. Okay. So when you double click it, it'll ask you what level you want to summon it at. And then oh yeah, so there's like a special map where you can do that. Like just before the dojo, there's like a portal there, and if you go in there, there's like a special map, and there you can do that, and you can make sure that all of your skills work properly. It's like a It's like a hidden portal. Wait, I can go there on stream real quick.
I am at the. It's before. I'm assuming the main door.
Yeah, there's like a hidden
Three
portal thing
flags.
when you walk over it. Oh no, it's not a hidden portal. It's just a visible portal. Yeah, and it's called backyard for training. So you can just like drop the dummy and just go ham. So you start a battle analysis. You like restart it a few times to make sure that it's actually registering, right? Because sometimes it breaks. So usually I tap the key like 4 times or something, and then wait until and then just prep all your buff and everything. And you kind of want to simulate how you would do it during bossing. So since you have Infinity, you probably want to pop Infinity pretty early, and then start your BA on like the last 40 seconds, right? Because that's ideally maybe like the last minute or so, right? Because you won't always have it exactly perfect during the boss fight, but you will be working towards trying to make sure that you have max amount of final damage during those 40 seconds, right? That's very important for your, specifically for all of your final damage you're doing. So like when you have about a minute left or something on Infinity, then you like start to test and then just go ham and try to do as much damage on the dummy. You might have to try a few times to see how you need to optimize your damage and everything, but I mean, you know how your character works, so you just burst the way that you would burst, and then that 40 seconds, that's like when people ask like what's your BA, that's the number that people are looking for. And then that's going to be like your basically that's going to be your audition, or your your application for parties is going to be like, hey, I'm a Fire Poison Mage, I'm 250, I have this much arcane power, and this is my BA. And then people can see like, okay, so for Hard Will, for example, you're 5 levels under, which is not the end of the world, but also your arcane power is a little bit under. So to compensate for that, your BA should be like pretty high to make sure that you're carrying your weight. That'll be like the way that people can use this information to see if the party is well rounded enough.
Okay.
Yeah, so just green pot and go and ham, I guess. And then,
Yeah, I came back and I didn't have the last 2 symbols. So I was like, oh, I guess I saw your screen. You had 2 of them. I'm like, what are those? So I googled them, and they're like, oh, you continue the story and you get them. I was like, oh, okay.
we didn't have Morass and Desfera?
The Morass, yeah, sure.
Oh yeah.
I didn't have them, so.
Oh, because you like quit before the areas came out?
Yeah.
Oh, I
so
see, yeah.
They're new. And then I used the 1,000 arcane on them though to boost them.
Oh yeah, that gave them a good head start. Yeah, and they only have 1 daily each, so that's also kind of rough. There should be a second daily coming for them soon-ish. Soonish, probably like somewhere in the next 6 months or something. And then, you know, whenever there's event stores, of course, you want to try to buy as many of them out to speed them up. Because disproportionately, they're still going to be decently fast to level compared to all the other ones. Until you get to like 15 or 16, and then it just takes forever. But yeah, you know all about leveling symbols, probably.
Yeah, I think it's like 360 days or something, right? To max them out? Is it a year long? Or is it longer now?
I think it's a little... well, it just depends on Morass and Asphera, right? Because of the 8 per day. I think it's 330 days. If you don't use event ones, yeah. So it's like 11 months or something, yeah. Almost a year. Yeah, it's pretty gnarly. And if you even miss like a few days in between, it's immediately a year or more. Yeah.
That's just a grind.
Yep. Yeah, it is. Yeah. Well, and that's going to be the so if you're trying to go for the harder bosses and everything, so the levels will help, and you know you deal extra final damage, and the amount of final damage you do for being over leveled, that's going to increase as well with in KMS. That's going to be for up to 10 levels, giving you up to 20% extra final damage, which means that you will deal extra bonus damage from leveling to something like Will all the way up until level 260. So even if you want to like optimize your damage on those, that's going to still help you get damage up. So with that said, like the number that people are looking for will runs for arcane power is 1140. So just
11.
yeah,
Oh,
1,000.
arcane power.
Yeah,
Okay.
1,140. Yeah, to deal like because you know about the bonus damage, right? The 50%, 30%, 10% bonus.
If you go over like a certain number of arcane force over, right?
Yeah. So the map requirement that just determines doing 100% of your damage, and then 10% over, 30% over, and 50% over give you 10%, 30, 50 more final damage.
Okay.
So you're already the 10% over. But people ideally want you to be the 50% over because, I mean, yeah, that's a difference of 10% final damage or 50% final damage. So obviously that makes a huge difference in making the tests and just making the run faster because you're kind of time gated with Will because of his mechanics. So you want to make sure that you deal enough damage in short bursts, within the 2-minute time frame so that you can pass the next test and then, get to the harder phases. Otherwise, you end up losing a lot of time if you fail too many tests, and then you have not too much time left over in the last phase, where it can get pretty gnarly, especially in the beginning. But you get better at that. You test a lot, and you fail a lot, and then everyone gets better at doing the tests, I guess.
Okay.
So I guess that's in terms of the bossing. Like how much stronger you need to get. It's going to be hopefully it's going to be organic, and you hopefully kind of keep your party together and be like, okay, let's start doing normal lucid with everyone, and then when everyone's like, okay, normal lucid is easy peasy, let's start attempting normal will just to get used to the mechanics. Probably fail a bunch of times, but that's no big deal. And then once everyone basically gets a huge handle on normal will and normal will becomes easy, then you're probably strong enough to start doing hard lucid. And then once hard lucid gets really unlocked and everyone is 250, 255, and the arcane power is there, then you can start trying hard will. Basically, that's going to be like the next order of the bosses, I guess. Hopefully, it's with the same party, and hopefully everyone kind of moves in that direction together. Some people might already be there when you join a party. Some people might be a little bit behind you, but hopefully you can get everyone kind of together to get to that point.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess to that extent, so you still want to get some levels, but to that extent, I guess a lot of your damage will be coming from the buff duration and the inner ability, right? From Infinity.
Yes. Infinity like doubles my damage almost.
Mm-hmm. So the question is going to be like, what do you want to hard focus on? Do you want to hard focus on the bossing, or do you want to have like a combination inner ability where you have like 20 meso, 38 buff duration, something like that? Or 18 meso, whatever. Do you want to have like a hybrid inner ability? Because it seems like right now it's really dedicated to grinding and good at that. But then the problem is if you go bossing, there's a huge chunk that you're missing.
I'm probably gonna switch it back to 1 attack speed and then 38% duration, and then the third one is just keep rolling it until I get something decent.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any honor experience like saved up from the compensation? Have you checked your compensation?
I collected all my compensation.
Okay. Okay.
I don't have that much. I have 85,000. So I don't have much on it. So my third ability probably won't be good for a while, but I could re-roll the other two with those inner ability resets.
I mean, yeah, you'll be able to roll with inners, roll with circulators. That's what you mean, right?
Yes.
To hopefully get the buff duration, but that can be a pretty expensive ordeal. And then once you have that one, you can lock it and roll the main one. There is inner ability rework coming from KMS that will make re-rolling cheaper. And it won't have a chance to go down, so you don't have to lock, so that makes the overall rolling cheaper. So since you don't have... So your total honor experience right now is 85k?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
And you don't have compensation? Yeah, then I would just hold off on that, because there's a very low chance that you actually roll something significant with the 85k. You can always, throw a bunch of circulators at it for money, of course, and then maybe hit the 38% buff duration. That can already be pretty expensive too. But then if you hit that, there's no guarantee that you'll get the attack speed back, so you'll have to get rid of the Mesoptane and the drop rate to get the buff duration back, if you even get it. So right now that might be a bit too expensive of a gamble, I think. So I'll probably wait until the reward comes from KMS and give yourself some time until then to build up more honor experience.
Okay.
Is the ranking for dojo split between the types of mages, or are all of those thrown into the same pile?
They're all fire poison. There's only like 7 on the board usually.
Okay. So you do you do that? Do you reach top 70% and get your dojo points there?
Last time I did it, I was ranked 5th, I think.
Okay.
5th or 6th. I don't do dojo a lot.
Mm-hmm. Well, I'm saying because with the dojo points, you can also buy honor experience. So that's a pretty nice source of extra honor experience. And since that's going to be something that's very expensive for you and not very easily accessible as a resource, it's probably going to be a good idea to, if you do have the time, to do at least one dojo run a week to try to get a good record so that you can purchase some dojo medals.
Does it reset weekly?
Yeah, reset weekly.
Okay, I could do that. It only will take like 10 minutes, right?
Yeah, it's I think up to 15 minutes. Yeah, depending on how well you're doing and how well you need to do, I guess, depending on the ranking of everyone. But yeah, it's like 15 minutes a week. Yeah, there's a lot of sources of honor experience, but none of them are very good. So you kind of want to tap into all of them because it can be a very expensive ordeal. Like it'd be millions of honor experience to get what you want. In the worst case scenario, you have to spend more than 10 mil. And good case scenario, maybe you get it with 100k. But you want to be prepared for that rainy day.
Okay. It was just something that took time to do, so I just kind of ignored it.
Mm-hmm.
I kind of ignored the that mall thing too. I can't remember what it's called. You go in there and you get like...
Oh, the Maple Tour?
Yes.
Yeah, with Mezzo.
I wasn't really hurting for mesos, so I don't really focus on it.
Yeah. Yeah, it's just one of the many things in a day that you have to remember to do. Well, yeah, since they removed since they moved how much money it was, and since it's 2 runs a day for free, it adds up over a week. But yeah, it's not the end of the world. If you take all of that time to train or farm instead, then you probably make the same amount of money or more. So it's not like a huge problem. It's mainly, I think, a cash injection for people who are just new, or maybe a bit more casual, who aren't completely set up yet to make money with their character. They will benefit from it proportionally way more.
Okay. I think I do the same thing with Ursa. If
Mm-hmm.
you don't mention it on your stream when I'm on, I won't do Ursa either. So.
Mm-hmm. I mean, yeah, it's all just one of those things where many small things make a whole, or whatever the saying is. Like, if you skip it a bunch of times, in the long term, it's gonna have a pretty big effect, and in the short term, you don't really hurt for it. But if you do Ursus every day, you do Maple Tour every day, just the 2 runs, then that makes you probably makes you about $1 bill per week from that as an income.
It's like an investment.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, you're investing your time, but if you feel like there's other things where if you invest your time there, you can make the same or more, or you can have more fun without making that much less, then that would be a better investment, in my opinion.
Okay.
Yeah. Like if you're already training and you're like, fuck Ursus today. But right now there's 4 hours of Ursus, so there's plenty of time to make it within the selection, of course. But if there's a wider spread of when you can do Ursus, that usually can also mean that it takes a little bit longer to get the queue going, because people will be spread out and running, so then it could be more time inefficient. But yeah, I always try to run after the when is it, like 3 hours? Well, a little bit under 3 hours from now, like there's a flag race, and then right after that we try to do the Ursus runs. It's only under big exception that I don't go, but usually I go then. Because yeah, for a lot of people it's just a good cash injection of almost 100 mil per day extra, and it does add up over a long time. Because I think on my account, before the counter got reset, I think I was close to 4,000 Ursus runs. Which, it's like, I don't know, like 35 mil average per run or something. I don't know. It's a lot of money eventually. It does add up over time. But
Okay.
I guess it's the same thing with like maybe not doing Monster Park every day, or what was the other thing you were like with the dailies, like maybe not doing the dailies always every day. Like it's not a huge problem, but if you look at how long it already takes, and then you add sometimes missing it or only doing like every other day. Well, now it takes twice as long. And if you're talking about something taking 11 months, taking 22 months, that's like a huge gap in, giving you access to certain things. So the game does force you kind of to do these things on that schedule. But it's, of course, it's up to you to do it or not, but there is consequences, of course.
Less money for whatever
for everything.
potential or inner
Yeah.
abilities.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but if you feel like, working on your Legion and working on your character, and you can get like a decent amount of money as well, and that's just something you enjoy doing more, then, you just do that. So that was your, your hyper stats. Okay, so is there anything, I guess before I go through all of the pictures and everything, is there anything in the game where you feel like you need that needs extra attention, where you really, like, okay, I need this explained carefully because I'm not sure how any of this works exactly, and I might be fucking something up?
I think I understand most of it. I think. I'm not 100% sure. I know, like, in our defense, you want a 97%, but that doesn't include, like, having a max level paralyze, or you get, like, extra percentage and stuff from, like, I guess, ghost percentages.
Yeah, from boost nodes, yeah. Yeah, I call those, like, invisible sources or on-hit sources, yeah. So you want to get, so the progression grid is what you're referring to, right? The numbers on there?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I know Chaos Vellum, at least back when I was playing a lot, the goal is 97% IED.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where, and I think I saw in your progression grid for endgame too.
Yeah, for endgame I have, at least now, but that might change, I guess, for like 95 to 98. But that's for the functional, yeah. So that's including all of the sources that are not shown in the stat window. That includes all of the on-hit effects and the boss debuff effects and the individual skill buffs, those kind of things, yeah. 97 is very high to aim. That's more like endgame. I think because parties buff as well. If your functional is like 95 or higher, then you're pretty much settled for all of those like first 4 bosses I mentioned, then you're fine for those. It's more like eventually you'll just be so strong and have so many sources of everything that your IED will just end up getting higher, and it'll make sense to go higher on it because it'll add to your damage more than it'll be a cheaper way to add to your damage than by min-maxing even harder on your boss and attack and magic attack. So eventually your IED will go over 95. I probably end up closer functionally to something like 97 or 98. But you don't want to aim too high too early for IED, because then that's going to mean it goes at the expense of boss damage or magic attack percentage, and then that might end up hurting your overall damage. It's all about balancing between the sources.
Okay, and then otherwise, I'm never sure what link skills to use during I guess boss fights.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
So I usually put the ones I think are the best for that time.
Yeah. Okay, we can look into that specifically. Well, so we could start there, I guess, with the Legion and the link skills, because we talked about a little bit about your Legion. Legion is pretty much like you've got all of that figured out, right?
Some degree. I have most of the characters. I go in order. I use the ones that benefit my class, and then I focus what I have there: boss damage, crit damage, or defense, and then I go into buff duration after. I'm trying to decide if I want to like do buff duration and like lose something else, but I'm not sure about the numbers on that.
Yeah, I'm not 100 on that either. The one thing though is that from what I understand, it's important. It's just really important. So I think you want to keep it roughly like this, what you have. What I did notice is though is that your critical rate is under 100%. Is it over now because of the event buff, or
my crit was sat at 99 before the event buff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Do you have any extra crit on like boost nodes or stuff, and that's why you don't have it at 100? Because otherwise, I would say getting crit at 100 is pretty important because that makes it so that your critical damage hits, and critical damage is a very important source of damage. And any kind of critical damage that you would add a lot to your damage because your base crit damage isn't very high, right?
Yeah. Okay, so move some of the stats into crit rate, so like 6 points, so it gets 100%. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah. Well, we could look specifically first for like the link skills and the legion and the hyperstats, right, and see what we can do with that, and then basically use the board to mix around with the hyperstats to see like what is the correct balance, and we can incorporate your question that you had about which link skills to use, and we can just throw that all into one pile, and that's like kind of the puzzle that we can look at now.
So currently my crit rate is over 100%, but I have that buff on the red rock thing from the
and well, we're gonna have that one for a while. So if you're currently over 100%, then we can maybe even adjust it downward, right? And maybe even give you some more flexibility on other stuff instead, because that's gonna stick around for quite a while. That's gonna be until like the end of August, I believe. So that's like 2 full months.
Okay, so with that rock on, I have over 100.
Do you know how much over 100? Well, you can climb those. Because I think I have. You have the level 3?
So I took off sharp eyes.
Mm-hmm.
If I put sharp eyes on, I'm over 100. If I take it off, I'm at 89.
Oh, that's impressive, because sharp eyes should give you 10.
Oh, I was not sure why then. Let me buff back up.
Something else. Wait, what else gives you crit as a fire poison? You don't have a innate.
Oh yeah, so so I'm at 99 with sharp eyes on. For some reason it dropped down to 89 when I took it off earlier.
So you're at 99. Wait, okay, but you saw over 100 before?
I was at 100. I was over 100. It was 100 in red. Not sure.
Was it maybe with a different link skill then?
I don't think I changed.
Decent combat orders? Oh, maybe decent combat orders buffed one of your skills that gives you innate crit? Maybe? Okay, try popping decent combat orders, see if that does anything.
Combat order. I don't think I have the what's combat order? Okay. Have that.
Oh, I think it's your yeah, you don't have it equipped, I think.
Combat order raises all the skills by
someone said a
right?
familiar, that might be it. You might have a little bit of crit on a familiar.
Okay.
15. These are the main ones you use? 15 ID familiar. Spider
Those are the 3 I put in are the ones I use mainly.
Those don't have any crit either. Well, because like the crit puzzle is pretty important, right? We want to have you just at 100% always, and like preferably exactly at 100%. Maybe a different Legion preset, which didn't have the crit characters in it. I don't know, just spitballing, I guess. The soul,
Okay.
I assume it didn't switch the weapon out.
I did switch my soul, but I did it this like today. But it went to all skills +1, so it went down.
What was it before?
Intel plus 24 intel. I got like 4 magnificent souls. I was hoping to get something good with them, but I didn't get anything.
Guess not.
I do have the +1 all skills on it.
Yeah, it doesn't go over the cap though, right? Like if you look at your 4th job skills, it doesn't put them at 21 or at 31. It just keeps them at the level.
Yeah, it doesn't help.
Unfortunately, it's only like useful for beast tamers, I think, and even then, it's limited usefulness.
Okay, so I sit at 99 crit then with the buff.
With the buff, okay. And what level is the buff right now?
2.
2, okay. So
I get 100 points a week, unless I do Lotus and Domain.
Sorry, people kind of mention that because you say domain, but it's like Damien. But people,
Damien, yes.
yeah, people are like, how is he killing the Kana skill? Hang on. So you get 100. Yeah, because boosting that is going to be pretty useful because you'll get access to the droplets, right?
Yes, that's why I'm actually trying to do this, so I can boost my arcane symbols. Is my goal.
Yeah, so you got 15, 10, 20, 30, 40, 50. So have you done, because there's some more points also in, have you done Akechi before?
I started running Akechi like a week ago,
Mm-hmm.
and I need to practice the mechanics, so.
Yeah, he's pretty
I
annoying.
could almost kill him. There's like phases I would revive him, he'll kill me like 2 times in a row. I'm like, what did he just do?
Yeah, sometimes he DRs, and then like if you bind him, he counter binds you and stuff, and pushes you through the map. He has some interesting stuff going on. Yeah, but he's 30 cores per week, so that would be a pretty good boss if you can clear that one. And then Chaos Papulatus is also 30. I don't know if you were able to clear that one.
I could almost kill him. I get him to the last phase, but I usually run out of lives.
And what usually kills you?
Practicing. I think it's the beams when they connect kills me sometimes. So I have to like move out of the way of the like, stuff falling down.
Oh, the claw,
like teleport.
The claws grabbing you.
The beams will like connect, and you instantly die. I think for that.
Right.
And
yeah.
I'm still practicing like that math portion of it.
Oh yeah, that part is very fun. The funnest part is, do you have any trouble with getting locked or stunned because of the phase 1 timer? Like where he gives you a timer and he himself gets a timer and then you get skill locked for a while? Does that happen?
I don't think so.
Okay. Because you have to sometimes like take ×2 and divide by 2 to synchronize the timers, right?
Yes, and they have to end at the same time, right?
Yeah, exactly. Well, yeah, whichever one ends first, then you get stunned for the duration of the difference of the other timer that you still see.
Okay, so if they're just 1 second difference, you could just leave it there.
Yeah, exactly. You'll just like get stunned for like, or no, not stunned, but you get like a blue lock over your head for like a second and then it's gone. But if it's like 20 seconds, then that can also lead to you not being able to teleport, and then that leads you to having to walk. That can lead you to getting hit by clocks or getting grabbed and then the beams connecting. So that can kind of like cascade a failure into becoming a bad run.
Okay.
The main thing I would say for like not getting grabbed is the main thing that will grab you is the one right down the middle of the map, right? That one goes all the way down. That's the scary one. So you always want to try to be to the left of that or to the right of that. Typically, I like to block the lasers on the right side. So what I try to do is keep Papulatus to the left of that, so that he is a little bit out of range when I go to his right, and then he will be more likely to move instead of summon skills. And that gives you a little bit more time to play around with. And the other thing is that you want to definitely incorporate ethereal form, right? If you're standing on the block and you need to block, it's better to stand where you need to stand and then use the ethereal form to block a clock that spawns underneath you, rather than to go to the other side and to try to immune the beams touching, because the beams touching is like 4 or 5 one-shots in a row, and eventually the last one still hits you even if you ethereal formed, right? Because it doesn't last very long.
Okay.
So it's more important to stand in the spot where you need to block, and then if you get the rift underneath you, or if you get the one of those purple clocks underneath you, then you just stand your ground and ethereal form. But it is all about positioning and about knowing where to stand. Have you seen my breakdown video of the boss fight?
Yes, I watched it a couple times.
Mm-hmm. There's still things that are still. Yeah, I mean it's practicing. Like you have to know like, okay, how far is my teleport? What is the safe spots? What are not the safe spots? And it's all about the timing of the skills. Yeah, but definitely throw that. Well, you have one iframe, right?
It's the inferior form.
Yeah, that's
which
it. You have like
I'm
the
not very good at it.
damn. Do you have like the lowest survivability as a fire poison? Because you have nothing else, right?
It's difficult. That's why I was thinking about switching. Because if you die without buff freezers too, then you have to put in 12 buffs.
Yeah, yeah, all the toggles.
Oh.
Like you go like piano on your keyboard, like get all the toggles back on. Yeah.
And then if you because I the hotkey button thing,
Mm-hmm.
I hotkey them so that one button does 3 of them. If you click too fast, you're missing like the third one, so you have to like redo it.
That's a dream, yeah. Mm-hmm.
So I thought about switching to like a character with only like 3 buffs to just maintain over 12.
Mm-hmm.
So that's one of the reasons I was thinking about switching to fire away from fire poison, but I haven't really decided completely yet.
From what I heard, the damage is really good on fire poison, though. So you'd have to, if you move to ice lightning, you move away with that a little bit. With bishop, you move away with that a little bit more, but then you have way more party support, of course. But ice lightning does have that iframe in their bind, which that adds to the survivability, of course. And bishop has their shell and door and all of that. So survivability wise, that would help.
Yeah, I was thinking like shadow or paladin.
Mm-hmm.
I don't really like the ice lightning that much, and then I enjoy playing the bishop, but I don't think it's my class.
Mm-hmm.
So.
Yeah, I mean it's going to be doable, right? It's going to be doable with the fire poison, but you have more situations where there's no out and you'll just end up dying. That just kind of sucks on the onset. But the stronger you get, the faster you will destroy this motherfucker, and the less chance he will have of throwing something at you that will definitely kill you. But like knowing that you can stand on the right side in between the two rifts and stop the beams from connecting as long as you jump just before the beam touches down, and you can kind of guide the beam down as you fall down, because if you don't jump, the beams will touch right over your head. That's probably happened to you before.
Okay.
So there's kind of one kind of sweet spot on the right side, right, where because the rifts are always in the same spot, right? So there's a few safe spots even if the rifts spawn. And that's also a spot where you can touch the beam, block the beams, but you have to jump right before they come down otherwise. And then if a clock still spawns on you, then you really have to ethereal form. But luckily ethereal form's cooldown is pretty short, but it also lasts pretty short. So yeah, figuring how that one works exactly is also pretty important. Yeah, because I don't think anything else gives you any kind of reduction of damage, or I guess you can
Infinity.
Hail Mary with...
I think it's 70-something% damage reduction, and it heals you slowly.
On what?
Affinity. My burst skill.
Wait, does that give you damage reduction?
Let me see. Oh no, knockback resistance.
Yeah, knockback resistance, I see.
But it heals you.
Mm-hmm.
It heals you 10%.
Do you have a level 16 Mystic Door? That's and level 20 Hyper Body. Okay, that's a lot of nodes there.
Man, I keep one of each node and just enhance them. Okay, I figured might as well not throw them away. Which it looks like I used to disassemble the teleport skill because I have a teleport, but it sounds like it's gonna be important soon.
Yeah, Blink is gonna give magic attack. Well, usually for like Hyper Body and Mystic Door, the thing is that they have such little use. Plus, everything else is more important, so you never actually get to put them in your grid ever. That if you extract them all for shards instead and then use the shards to level up, then eventually that seems to be more useful. But like in your situation, it's not like right now that's very important or anything, because everything is pretty much maxed anyway, and you can't level up the True Ragnar Reflection only with the skill nodes from the event stores or from the event rewards, or with extra hard will drops. So
what can you use that on? Because I tried to use that a couple times. It says not unable to use on map.
The green skill nodes?
The reflection skill.
Reflection skill.
The purple skill in the V matrix.
Wait, it says you can't use it on something?
It says it can't be used in this map. I get that a lot.
That's only during will that you can't use it. Because you guy can't use the spider skill to kill himself. But otherwise, you should be able to use it everywhere.
Okay, maybe I was clicking it wrong then.
It has a pretty long cooldown though, so yeah, maybe. But it should maybe not in like Ardent Mill or something. Like you can't use it, I guess. But like it should be all of the maps with monsters and bosses in it. It should be able to be used in all of them except against Will.
Okay.
Yeah, it is a pretty strong skill though. So if you're trying to do your BA or something, I would definitely throw that one in to do more damage over some other stuff. So I guess we can, since we're on topic of the Matrix and everything anyway, I guess to optimize your Matrix, I would probably look at, if you're trying to do the BA, I would definitely get rid of, or like, you know, swap out Holy Symbol and Advanced Blessing. And I would put in the True Retina Reflection and decent combat orders instead. Because combat orders will just give your force job skills in the like an extra level, and there's always some nice stuff in there, some extra damage increase. That'll always give you a little bit more than just the Advanced Blessing. And the Retina Reflection, you can summon it before you start the BA, and then the summon of the eye will do a lot of damage during the BA. It's going to be a decent chunk. It's probably going to be somewhere like, at least for most people, it's like 7 or 8% of their total damage. So it's actually quite nice, even at level 1.
Okay, so I should use it more often.
I think so. It's definitely if you want to like optimize your burst damage on bosses and stuff. Yeah. But other than that, I think your setup is pretty fine, and for mobbing and everything, it's probably pretty fine, right? I don't think you're missing anything important, because you did come back after a while, but you double checked all the skills, I guess.
I haven't checked if the trio mods changed at all, but I can't see any other fire poison skill being used. To be honest, maybe a poison mist, but nothing else that I would use at least.
Yeah, I don't think so. I mean, you could double check, but I don't think that has changed at all. Paralyze, Haze, Eruption, Aura, Megiddo Flame, Meteor Shower. Oh yeah, someone said Ignite, Ifrit, Teleport Mastery, but that, I don't know.
That might be a farming thing. I could see that working if you could one-shot with your Teleport Mastery. Maybe.
How strong do you need to be for that?
I could kill the 245 mobs with my Teleport Mastery inside like that spider thing. I can't remember what they're called.
Spider thing? Oh, in Sphere?
Yeah, the Mirror Touch C4. I could kill those with Teleport, but I can't kill the stuff after that with Teleport. So like the maze place, they usually do like the Neo Stone farming, like the mazes, who could pick up some familiars. I can't kill those with Teleport, but I can kill them with one Paralyze.
Yeah.
So
Ignite does some pretty good damage. Been seeing a lot of FP going the third trio as well.
Ignite does some pretty good damage. You've seen a lot of fire poison going for the third trio. Yeah. That was loud? Yeah, I have to boost everything super loud because his microphone is terrible. It's very quiet. Okay, so it seems that more fire poisons are doing that. But yeah, what that also means is that a bunch of other skills, bunch of skill nodes are probably going to have to make way for that when you're mobbing. But I mean, something like Unreliable Memory and the Goddess Blessing, right? For mobbing, those don't really add much. So it would be about you throw the boost nodes in instead of those, right? Those are specifically for bossing.
okay, yeah. I mean, the Unreliable Memory doesn't do much anything even during bossing. So.
Well, you basically it's every time it's up, it's just like a YOLO to see if you can get infinity.
Yes, practically.
Pretty much.
Which is
yeah.
a low chance.
Very low chance, yeah, because you have so many different skills, yeah.
Seen it happen very little.
Yeah. But when it does, it could be a lot of damage increase, of course. think I've seen a bishop throw up an extra Bennett. Because wait, it can throw up 5th job skills as well, right? Or no?
Yes,
Yeah.
it could do the V matrix skills.
Yeah.
And it could do the hyper skills.
Yeah. But yeah, it's very unreliable. Has a very aptly named.
So I seen it do the flame, the Mako flame a couple of times,
Mm-hmm.
but otherwise it doesn't do. A lot of times it does nothing. So
Or paralyze or
I
something.
went backwards and I got rid of all the skill points and the skills I don't use.
Yeah, exactly. To optimize the chances a little bit of getting what you want. Yeah, and even then it's low efficiency. Yeah, but I would say for Hyperbody and Door, you can definitely just extract those if you get more of those, so you can get some more value out of the shards. All the other ones, technically leveling them up is still does something, so you can keep doing that. But the other side of I guess the other thing about this is as well is that if you're a little bit more sparing with your nodes and which ones you use and how much you level things up, that does leave you with a lot more nodes that you can then use to fund additional characters, right? And give those a better chance of seeing if you can main those.
Yes, I gave like 4,000 to my Shadower,
Okay.
4,000 to my Ex-Bowman, and like 4,000 to my Paladin already. So
that's a lot. How do you get so many?
I mean, it was. I mean, I don't want to say it wasn't as hard as it to get 250 now, but I thought it took a lot more time to get 250.
Oh, in the past, yeah, for sure.
So we got like stacks of nodes, and I mean they increased the drop rate. I noticed because I'm when I hit 250, I had like 260 something of those the lotus symbol, not lotus.
Oh, the droplets, you mean?
Yeah,
Or,
so
yeah.
I spent like weeks farming and I only got like 260, and I started leveling my Shadow Aura up, and I already found like 30 of them, 30-ish of them.
Yeah, and in the past, when you got to 250 before the last rework, if you got to 250, you usually had somewhere around 30 to 40 droplets, and that's it. And now, I think Nate went to 275, and he got like 400 or something. It's like, oh. Like
Yeah,
it's
so
order of magnitude difference.
I think I had like 200 when I quit playing, and I already found almost 200. I guess you could minus 50. So I found like 150 already playing my other characters.
Okay.
So
that's pretty big.
But I did rush drop gear on my other classes though.
Yeah, you can afford that, right? When you have all the links in the Legion, you can afford to rush that, and it's beneficial for sure.
So like my Shadower and my Marksman have full drop gear on accessories already. Even though it's not helping with the damage, but I'm still able to one-shot most things, so.
Okay. You got the coins. Yeah, but yeah, just so with that, I mean, I think we can get off the topic of the V Matrix, right? I think that's taken care of. Okay. So for links and Legion, do you have like 2 Legion presets? Do you use both?
I have my Bossing Legion preset for my Mage, and I also use it for my Shower because I'm too lazy to switch them, to be honest. But the other one is set on the base stats and EXP, crit rate, and crit damage. So that I could level. So it's like a mole leveling Legion set, I guess.
Yeah. What I did at this point when I had this big of a Legion is I made a Mage preset and then a non-Mage preset. Because you have a lot of characters that give int that are great for your Mage and that are horrible for everyone else. And all the other characters, they want, strength, dex, luck, and then all of the, they want all of the base things, right? All the crit, boss, all of those things. And then on top of that, you throw all the strength, dex, and luck ones. And then the mage ones wants all of those base ones as well, but then all of the intellect ones, and then maybe luck, and then whatever is left, right?
So on my my number 1 preset, I put all the intelligence and luck characters in it. Then all the ones that give general buffs, because I'm mainly trying to buff my mage and my Shadower. But I built it towards buffing my mage. And then on the second one, I usually level 2 characters at one time because I get bored of one, so I switch to the other one.
Mm-hmm.
So I tend to target whatever stats they're using, but I focus on crit damage, crit rate, and bonus EXP.
Mm-hmm.
And then I try to get all the characters that either give strength, dex, or strength luck, depending on what characters I'm leveling. Right now I'm leveling 2 strength characters, the Adele to 220, and then the Shade to 200. So it was quite easy to set up the second thing since I only need to focus strength characters. That's how I usually do it. So the second one always changes. The first one I rarely change. I need to fix the first one because there's some overlap.
Yeah.
Some characters hit 200.
Yeah, but I'm thinking like if you're moving it around as well, since there is overlap, I wonder if, because if you train, you just switch to the other one and you don't have, yeah, I guess you're not min-maxing as much. If you go to higher level areas and your damage becomes more important, I guess it becomes more valuable to switch blocks around, because like the buff duration isn't going to be important for mobbing at all, right?
No, it's mainly for buffing or to bossing.
I guess unless you're going into the super high level areas, because their infinity might actually help you kill faster again, right?
It could.
Because the way I see it, moving, yeah. So I would have the mage setup and then the non-mage setup, and then move the boss damage into the bonus EXP, and then maybe move some buff duration into critical rate so that it touches. But so like when you reset, I would keep like the boss block like completely within the boss block and just that, so you can move it in its entirety. I mean, it's like 2, 4, 6, 8, like 10 or 11 pieces, right? And just move those 11 pieces, lock in, and then be done. And then for the other side, you can do the same depending on the function of the non-mage character, just so that you can get all of the value out of the intellect for this one and all of the value out of all of the other stats for the other one. But I guess since the main is a shadower, well, I mean, there's a lot of strength characters as well, right?
There's a lot more strength characters than any other I noticed.
Yeah, Dex is pretty under represented.
There's not a lot of luck characters either, I don't think.
Yeah, no, it's pretty low, yeah.
I think most of the characters that would give dex give like crit chance or crit rate instead of dex, so.
Oh yeah, they give something else. Yeah, a lot of the pirates also give some alternate stats, so they don't end up giving any of the main stats themselves. Which is probably good, because most of them would be strength anyway. But yeah, you have like the buff duration, summon duration, critical damage for 2 of them. Yeah, a lot of the pirates give less obvious stuff. But I guess if you're going to redo it, I'd probably redo it in that way.
Make it so that I'm able to switch over boss damage to bonus EXP easily.
Mm-hmm.
Correctly. Okay.
Yeah. Maybe use some buff duration pieces to, connect the crit rate through the crit rate. But that way you can stick to one preset for the mage, and then the other preset for all the non-mages. And then, because the grid bonus is really nice, but then because you want to optimize the member bonus block. And since you have pretty much all the characters, or you actually have all the characters, that means that the member bonus block is proportionate to the grid bonus, going to be a bigger piece. So you want to make sure you optimize that as well.
Okay.
All right. Okay, so here's our yeah, so the link skills, right? That'll be the next thing. So is this your bossing setup?
Yes. That's what I mainly use.
Yeah. And this is... use this for all the bosses or just for some?
Majority of all of them, practically.
Mm-hmm. And
I might switch and put in Spirit of the Freedom.
Mm-hmm.
But that might be the only switch I do. I take out the DA ability and put Spirit of the Freedom in.
So you would you say you use this one for all the bosses that you already know beforehand that you can definitely kill, and you're just trying to kill them faster?
Yes.
Okay. Because in that case, I think switching out Invincible Belief seems like the move, right? If they're like easy kill bosses.
Yes, I could do that.
Mm-hmm.
Oh,
and
shit, I fucked up.
and then generally Noble Fire would also then not be in this setup, because Noble Fire by itself, if it's just you in the party, is I think only 6% damage, but it goes up to 12, you know, where it becomes competitive with all the other link skills, but only when you're in a full party. So if this would be your setup for bosses that you already know you can solo and you just want to get through them quickly, then I would not have Noble Fire in this setup either, and I probably wouldn't have Pirate Blessing in this setup either. So the link skills that you can look at to replace these with would be, for example, the Kinesis link for critical damage. Could be the Kadena for up to 12% extra damage, because you're going to be doing bosses that are lower level than you, because you know you can kill them quickly, right? And would be the Pirate link skill for a lot of extra. The Arc link skill for a lot of extra damage just for staying in combat.
Arc link skill. Okay, Solace.
Solace, yes. And then there might even be a few that I would chuck in there, but for some reason link skills I never really can fully visualize all of them, so I always have to double check. I feel like I'm forgetting at least one. You have this one. Oh, and the other thing is that we're a little bit short on crit. Well, we're 1% short on crit rate. But the other thing is that if we do throw a crit rate in there, that does mean that we can we can't gain anything from your board, but that means we could gain something from the current hyper skill setup, right?
Okay.
So that's something to keep in mind, that it's not like, oh, well, I only need one crit, so I can't use the Phantom. But if you use the Phantom, that means that maybe you can reset all the hyper stat points, and now all of those can go into boss damage and IED, and then interchangeably they still give you more than just those stats. It's kind of how you want to look at that.
Okay, I have 15% crit on my board, my hyper skill board at least.
Want to because another skill that doesn't scale terribly well is Hybrid Logic, and then Cygnus Blessing is also not the greatest. So those two I'm looking at, and then maybe Elementalism, but those are like the two main ones that I'm looking at right now to see if there's something else that we can place instead of those. You're not really needing the IED from what I saw, so that's not one that we throw out there. Do you have the Jet Link skill bumped up at all?
My jet's 200, but I
have
don't
you ever
do anything with it.
But you've never rolled the Link skill for it?
No.
Okay. So you can roll up to... it's basically like a potential where you have to cube it up and then, get the right potentials that you want, and then you can lock it for up to a year, but you can extend the lock at any time, so you can perpetually lock it, basically. But it can give you up to a 35 magic attack and intellect. So it's like a Hayato Link skill on steroids, but you have to pay for it.
You pay those special potion things, right?
Yeah, there's like cubes, cosmic, dust, whatever, and then you re-roll with it, yeah. So that would be an option. The other
How
option...
hard do you think that is to do?
I think in total... fuck. I think you would spend about, like, 2 bill for, like, a year lock and getting what you want. Like, tiering up, getting what you want, locking for a year. Was about 2 bill, but that was on release and there was some discount on the cubes. I don't remember how much. It might be like 20% or something. So that does set you back some money. But it is pretty decent. Okay. The other side is if you want to play multiple characters, you can roll more and sell for a little bit lower numbers, but get multiple stats on it. The problem, of course, is going to be that you want to get weapon attack and magic attack and intellect and luck. Like, the more stats you want to get, the way more expensive it gets, or the lower you have to settle for. At that point, what some people do is get 2 jets and then get 1 for the magic attack and lock that one, and 1 for weapon attack. So that could be an option. The other Link skill that I'm surprised you're not using is the Mihal one for the knockback resistance. Do you get knockback resistance from other sources as fire poison, or?
No, I will put Miha in if I fight Lotus.
Because one thing that I would highly advise for your CPAP runs is also to use that one. Because he will just bump you just far enough away from him when he touches you, just into one of those purple clocks that will it's gonna happen. You want to have the knockback resistance there. Because I'd be surprised if you just tried to do the weekly bosses you can do with the Mihail versus not using it at all. I think you will find just a calmness coming over you with not having to hyper respond to everything immediately for fear of dying, because your survivability is already kind of hampered with only having ethereal form. I think the Mihail Link skill is probably, even for bosses that you know you're going to be killing, I would probably throw it in there always.
Okay.
It might be because I'm always used to playing warriors, so I'm used to not getting knocked back, and when I do get knocked back, I get super triggered. But I feel like it's one of those things that once you do it, you can't go back. So maybe you don't feel it as good yet because maybe you're not doing enough bosses yet where it's super necessary. But eventually, it's going to become like staple basic to get the Mihail in there for the utility. And the duration for that is, because you don't have it at 210, I don't think, right? The Mihail, or do you?
Mihail's at 210.
Okay, yeah, fine, yeah. So you have long duration, and you have buff duration in your kit, so you have no problem.
It stays up 24/7.
Yeah, for sure, yeah. Even 25/8 probably with your buff duration. Probably even overlap.
Yeah, I think it lasts longer than when it runs out.
Mm-hmm.
I think I have like, or it might not be the same, but I used to have the 38% buff plus the 50% buff plus like a 20-something, then plus the mechanic.
Yeah, you have your own buff duration as well, right?
Yeah, the
Yeah.
buff 50%.
Yeah, so that's crazy. Yeah, yeah, I would
Over 200%. So it stays up forever.
yeah.
I mean, if I do what is that? Maple Warrior, it's 31 minutes. So
Yeah, that's a while.
I don't need to. I'm worried about casting it every 2-time coupon.
Yeah, I think that's pretty fine. So I'd probably at this stage I'd probably take out Hybrid Logic, I think, and move that one for the Mihail in this setup, even on the ones that you know you can clear. And then when it comes to doing the party bosses, and then the ones that are harder, then I would definitely throw in the what's it called again? The Resistance Link skill?
Freedom of something. Spirit of
Freedom? Yeah, Spirit of Freedom. I would throw in Spirit of Freedom and Noble Fire, probably instead of Elementalism and Thieves' Cunning. That would be the swap I would do, versus like solo bossing and party bossing.
Okay, so Thief Cunning for Noble, and then what was the other one you were saying?
Elementalism for Spirit of Freedom. Because then the chance of dying is higher, right? Or, you know, if there's a boss with higher chance of dying, then I would also switch out Elementalism to Spirit of Freedom. Because Elementalism is nice, but not dying, even nicer. And then if you need even more survivability on even harder bosses, then, you know, you want to focus around Mihail, Spirit of Freedom, Cygnus Blessing, and Invincible Belief. That's like, those 4 will give you like the most, and Close Call, like those 5 will be like, if you desperately need to stay alive, then those are like your 5 starting ones, and then you build from there. But what you were saying before, that you take out Wild Rage, I would never take out Wild Rage, right? Because that one's 15% and Elementalism is only 10%. So Wild Rage will always stay longer than Elementalism. Wild Rage is even more than a stacked Noble Fire in a full party, and it's better than the Kadena if you have advantage. The only ones that are better than Wild Rage is if you have a level 3 Arc that's fully stacked, then it's 16, that's 1% more, and the Fury Unleashed is 20%, so when you're bossing, that one's more. But other than that, those 3 are like your biggest percentage damagers.
Okay.
So this setup should probably help you a bit as well with the boss. Yeah, I'm not gonna... So for this one, I'm not gonna mess around with the crit. If you did want to mess around with the crit, I'll probably just blanketly fix... just switch out the Focus Spirit with the Phantom Instinct. And then just go from there. And then just take... then you can take 10% out of your hyperstat, so you take your... or 9%, right? So you take your hyperstat down to level 6 or something, and then you can move those points around if you wanted to min-max that. But if it's just a 1%, as soon as you get the next level of the Neo Core, you'll get some extra crit rate, and then you'll get to 100% with that. So I wouldn't mess around with the crit for now. But when the skill is gone, I would look into make sure that you base have 100% crit rate. So I'd probably switch out the Phantom Instinct for the Focus Spirit at that point. If you're, well, specifically if you're mobbing, right? And then if you're bossing, probably I would do it as well, and then redo the hyper skills to make sure, or bleed like 1 point over into the Legion grid once you have that one fixed over, if that makes more sense.
Okay.
Those would be like your options. Okay, so does that make link skills more clear?
Yeah.
Good. Okay. I guess we can get into... Oh yeah, so familiar-wise, are you actively working on familiars and fusing and everything? Because...
I was doing it on my mage for a long time.
Mm-hmm.
Not getting anything really that great.
Okay. But a bunch of dookie...
I started storing them inside my storage container. I wasn't
Mm-hmm.
sure if I wanted to switch or not. So I have a lot of different, I guess, things in my storage container now.
A lot of different, like monsters?
Familiar.
Yeah.
Yes, because I have all, like, because I've been grinding a bunch of characters.
Mm-hmm,
So I have, like, a bunch of the Cygnus Knights, Swallowed Stomps,
right.
First Clairs.
Like, how
Dark
many of each do you
Mystery.
have? Like, how big are those stacks?
20, 30-ish.
Yeah, so if you're at that stage, you're basically at the stage of just revealing for the sake of trying to get something useful, and if you do, it's cool. If you don't, you just extract them. What I'm talking about, like with trying to get the really good familiars, is when you're training for a prolonged period in the same area, and you're looking at like thousands of the same familiar.
Okay,
Because if
so
you want to
you're
be
talking about-
fusing them for epic and unique and stuff, you'll need a lot of them.
Okay.
So that would be if you keep training on the fire poison and you go probably into Moonbridge, right?
Yes.
Because I assume that would be very nice. And then I think some people did Labyrinth at some point, which is probably might be a nice place because a lot of people skip Labyrinth, so there might be some high-level burn maps there for good rates. And then Limina after that. Those areas all drop familiar, so just when you're actively training and you have your drop rate gear on, like there's gonna just hundreds of familiars out the ass. And then what you can do is level them up, fuse them together with the same type of card, and then reveal them on epic, reveal them on unique. But if you're talking about just revealing normal and so common and rare cards, I guess you could still try to look at least for one more 15% ID familiar here, because I mean it's usually not very important. Like
the spider. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, because when you're bossing, you probably want to have two, like the Sinister Rocky Mask, right? Like with a 15% IED, two of those, because it's not going at the expense of much, like the Meso drop rate. At least, you could switch at the end if you really want to min-max for your drop rate. And like the large MP, that's not like hugely important for your damage output either, right?
No, it's just a survivability, since we burned through our MP.
Mm-hmm.
Like crazy.
Yeah, I did the Blaze Wizard with
Mana Overload?
With Mana Overload, yeah. Holy shit, your mana it just disappears. It's insane.
And
was
if you get hit, you lose a chunk of mana too.
Yep.
So.
Yeah, exactly. On top was you can go from 100 to 0 real quick. Yeah, so if you're still just revealing for the 15% ID, you can do that. But if you were wondering about getting like good base familiars on other characters, it's probably good value also on the other characters that you want to boss on, just to see if you can get some 15% ID, maybe a little bit of drop, maybe a little bit of healing. But you're not going to get more out of common and rare cards. But yeah, if you're going to be fusing cards, and you're going to go to epic cards from training, then you can go aim for very high things. You can aim for 30% boss, you can aim for 30% IED, you can aim for large amounts of drop rate and large healing. Those will be very valuable later on.
Okay.
That's when you start fusing the familiars, yeah.
And on if they rank up, so I did have another 15% drop mask one,
Mm-hmm.
but I ranked it to like the purple color looking thing, and does it always reset the rank, or
Yeah,
did I do that wrong?
It's like a tier up cube, like when you use a cube and it tiers up basically. Like you'll get to tier up, but you have to settle for whatever potential it comes with. And we don't actually have cubes where you can re-roll. So if you want to rank one up, you always want to rank one up that has a horrible base potential.
Okay, so I screwed that up then.
Yeah, in hindsight. Probably not the end of the world, but yeah, in hindsight, that wasn't the best thing to do, yeah.
I was like, I thought it was on a tier up to purple with the same stats, and I was like, what?
Yeah, that would be nice, but then you got something crazy, and you're like, oh, well, I guess it doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I think it gave me something trashy, so I was like, oh, I just wasted this familiar.
Yeah,
But
the
I should
chance
keep
of
it,
getting
right?
something trashy is like 98%, so that's probably what happened.
You should keep the epic monsters and tier them up to unique.
Yeah, you basically let it be decided by how many like slots you have and how many familiars you're getting. Because if you just want to make a bunch of epics in the beginning, the thing you also have to take into account is that when you make a unique, the second line is also an epic line. So you're basically making a unique and an epic in one. So that's why you're paying the higher premium. But once you get like thousands of cards, you're really actively training on the fire poison in the higher level area. You want to make uniques just so you can keep getting rid of the cards, because you'll just make so many of them if you're really like actively using your totems and stuff.
Okay.
Okay, does that explain familiars enough?
Yes.
Okay,
The
good.
familiars, so it's just like practically grind thousands of them, put them in one thing, upgrade them to unique. Hopefully, you get something good. If not, restart.
Yep,
Is what it sounds like.
that's
Okay.
pretty much what it is. Yeah. Yeah, you have to equip them to level them up to level 5, and then fuse them up to full fusion. So you can see that with your Sinister Mask, right? Like that one is level 5, but it's like halfway yellow, which probably means you tried to rank it up, but it failed or something. Or it just happens to be exactly on half. Because if you try to rank up and it fails, the fusion bar, the yellow one, drops to half, and then you have to refuse to fill it up again.
Okay, I think that's actually new to me, to be honest.
Yeah, it might just be roughly the middle. Yeah.
How do you level them up by feeding them their kind practically, other cards of them, or
No,
do
so
you?
that's the fusion bar. So that's the yellow bar. And then leveling up is by having them out and killing monsters near your level. That's how they level.
Okay, so my big spider and my guy's level 5.
Yeah, that's because you have those summoned a lot. And then the boogie you barely have summoned ever. So that's why it doesn't have any yellow HP bar underneath it, and that's why it hasn't leveled yet.
Okay.
So if you do go for the third slot, that will be very useful to be able to rank up familiars and still have a decent amount of benefit from. So you want to make sure that you have the spider out and that you have like 2 of them that you're leveling at a time, so that you can then fuse those together and level those up, and then equip 2 new ones to level up. Basically, while you're training, just switch them out every... If you're actively training, it's like 20 minutes or so. They will level up to level 5, and then you can switch them out for new ones. And then when you're done, you can try to rank them up. If it fails, you just keep throwing cards onto them, and then you set up your next batch of... Because they're all going to be horrible, probably. But like a big item drop rate is 100% drop rate versus this big spider gives you 60, for example. So that's 40% drop rate that you can still gain there.
Okay.
So
Yeah,
there's-
the Booby U, I have 2 level 5 ones. I have 4 of them. Assuming that was before the cards changed.
The boogies?
Yeah, I have
Mhm.
quite a bit of them.
Yeah, epics don't drop anymore, so it's way harder to get
Oh.
epics. So the only way to get epics
I
is
do
from
have a level
the
5 one.
the only way that you can get them is from the booster packs or from the or by ranking up now. There's like very rare drops, I think, but those are only unique ones, not epics. Well, so even if you have a level 5 boogie, you can't really do anything with it because you would need like 100 other boogies to throw onto him to be able to fuse him so that you can rank him up, right?
So it's probably not worth it.
No, it's definitely not worth it. You want to just go to an area where they drop and then just throw all of those together. It'll just say, yeah, in the grand scheme of things, for the mass production, it's just way more efficient.
Okay.
Is it all clear?
Yes.
Okay.
I know I need to work on my badges.
Mm-hmm. Badges is very small, but like having 10, like that's the thing you want to work on. But I don't know if you have the Moonbridge already and then the Labyrinth one already. Those are very easy to get. And then once you get to 255, you can get the Limina very quickly. I have a little bit of a tier list on the badges as well. It's under the familiars command. It's got like a
Yeah, I think I saw. I read through it,
mm-hmm.
but when I first started collecting badges, I was going from like one place to the next.
Mm-hmm.
But, like so many mobs are missing.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, you'll be like, oh, this one's easy. I almost have it, but then that one monster just doesn't exist anymore, or just doesn't drop a badge, and then you're just, or it doesn't drop a card, and you're completely fucked. Yeah. So it's better to go by, these are the tried and true sets that people know are doable and are realistic. Yeah, and then just get those. And then if you want to min-max later and get the other ones, that's cool. Like, for example, if you open up a booster pack and you get a Seraph, that means that the Aqua one is just free. But without that card, the Aqua is impossible, because Seraph doesn't drop a card. Same thing for, like, Papalatus. Like, if you get the Papalatus drop from doing CPAP, well, that's cool. Now that set is just free and you can complete it. But if you never get that pub drop, then you can just forget about it.
Yeah, that's what I noticed. I was like, I did get lucky with some of like the booster packs I bought, but you need to get lucky a lot of times.
I had a week where I got like lucky on almost every pack, and then after that, it didn't get jack shit anymore. But I got like I think I got the Malady, the Lupin. I got some of the bigger. The big boss ones, a few of the ones in the shrine that are harder to get, but they need to be in the same set to have value, because there's like 5 sets with 3 of them that don't exist, and you get 1 or 2 of them, that's cool. But as long as there's one missing, it's all or nothing for the sets. If you don't have all of them, it's like having nothing. So yeah, you want to focus on those that are very doable. Like once you get to 255, there's basically 9 sets that are completely free, and then you just have to get one of the slightly harder badges, which these 3, like in the A tier, those are very, very doable. They just take a little bit more effort, but that's it.
Okay. I think I have the first 5. I have the first 5 on the S tier, and I know I could get the lion. I already did I used to farm lions. I already know they have that place open. I just need to go there and grind their cards.
There's more monsters per map now as well, so it makes it a bit easier. I can increase the spawn there. Yeah, and the other 3 is just getting your levels. So yeah, if you get that one and you get the Void and the Labyrinth one, which you do have access to if you do the pre-quest, then you're already at 8. So then it's just, grind out to 255, get the Limina one, and then get either the Mariner, the Mush King, or the Sandy badge. I think the Mush King one is probably the simplest, because I mean, for Sandy badge, you have to get the one boss. He spawns in like 3, but he's like an area boss. So you have to like CC around a lot. That might lead to crashing, all of that. The Mariner badge, you have to get the Demolishizer, which has a little bit of a cooldown on entry on the boss. You can spam it, but like there's like 15 seconds in between that you have to wait every time. You can also CC to get rid of that. But for the Mush King one, you have to farm the Black Viking at the end, and that one has no cooldown whatsoever, so you can just always go in, always go in, always go in. So that one is the simplest to farm at the end, I think.
Okay, so it's a sandbag.
Guess like the top 9, and then the Mush King probably is like the simplest, I would say. But they're roughly the same difficulty tier, yeah. I got lucky with the Demolishizer from a booster pack a few times, so that just means that the whole set is completely free for any character I want to get that one on.
Okay.
Yeah, Commercy is doable, but you have to get 2 cards from the pre-quests, and you have to like cancel the quest and redo until you get it right. And if you accidentally complete it, you have to go do it on another character, and it's doable, but it's like, it's not very fun. And then Time Badge is also kind of doable, but you need the 3 area boss cards. You need the Laika, the Lilinush, and the Dodo ones. So that's quite a lot. I mean, they exist and they have short respawns, but it's annoying.
Yeah, I'm missing the 3 bosses.
Yeah, exactly. You'll have all the other ones and then just, not get any of the other stuff. Okay, we are nearing the end of our allotted time slot. I still have to go over the equips, so let's kick that into high gear. So when it comes to your equips right now, I think you had a picture that just had your equips on it, right? Like the equip window?
Yeah, I have my inventory, and it should be towards the top, I think.
Am I blind?
Or is it towards the bottom?
Oh no, so where's the bottom? Yeah. So those are like your backups that you have and stuff that might be relevant. So you have a full drop in meso set?
I have a, I Is it 80% drop, 20% mezzo on my mage?
Mm-hmm. And that's all the lines you have that you use when you're like mobbing?
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
I am trying to make I started farming the Sweetwater again, so I could get 2 necklaces, one to use as damage and one to use as drop gear.
Mm-hmm.
Because I have 2 of the Superior Golex pendants. So I was
Uh,
gonna switch one of those to drop gear and then keep one as normal or meso gear, whatever it is.
Yeah. Well, let me look through your equips real quick and see what you have going. So in terms of Mezzo, so I see you have one superior that has Mezzo obtain, and then 15 intellect. That's nice, of course. And the other one is full intellect. Yeah. And so those are the 2 pendants you wear right now.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. And then you
And
have
I just bought a Sweetwater a week ago. I haven't done anything with yet though.
Yeah, so the thing we do with Sweetwater these days is transpose a Dominator onto it. Do you know about transposing, how that works?
I learned about it a couple weeks ago. I didn't know it was this until then though.
Mm-hmm. So, I mean, you'd have to flame a good Dominator first, right? Before you really start doing anything with that. Do you have 2 17-star Superior belts? That's interesting. You don't see that very often.
One of them was a pendant, I think. I accidentally traded it by accident.
Ah, I see.
So I started using the obviously one with strength to
Mhm.
get it to into better in stats than the right one, but I am not succeeding.
Right. There could be value for later if you try to Star Force it beyond 17 and it ends up booming. You can just switch to the other one, throw a few cubes on, and then not really any harm, any foul. But if it succeeds, then you have that safety net, so that can make it less of a risk for upgrading, right?
Yes.
So we can maintain some of the value that way. We got a drop rate tattoo and a intellect tattoo, and both at the drop at 12, yeah, and then 11, and of course the 17-star monocle got the drop rate, and then the 11-star got the intellect. Obviously, that's how it always works, right? 27 on the earring, and then the Abzo is at 12. The cape.
Yes, the cape is new. I keep burning them. So
Are you flaming that one?
I'm trying to get it to 17, but I keep burning them. So
What do you mean burning them? Like blowing up?
Like blowing up, yes.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I would not do that.
I have no luck with the cape.
Yeah, I would just let's get you a mid and long-term plan for all of this stuff. Emblem is very nice. That secondary is, basically means you can YOLO the Demos shield, right? Because even at these stats, it's like not even beating the Rusty Book.
Yeah, I put the demo shield on when I log out, so I get like extra coins, but otherwise the book is what I use.
Yeah, you'd have to get the shield up to 20 stars for it to become better, right? Because I think then you get 75 stat, or no, more than 75. Then you'd get like 25 weapon and magic attack. I don't know exactly the numbers, but you get quite a bit more.
And I know my flame score is really bad.
Yeah, we'll look at it through like the lenses, like what equips are coming next, what do we do flame-wise, what do we do potential-wise, and what do we do Star Force-wise, right? So the main thing is, it's kind of good that you didn't like hyper over-invest into Abzo, right? Because of the access to droplets, and in the current shop and in the ongoing shop. I don't know if you saw we went over the patch notes from KMS yesterday.
We're gonna get like 600 more.
And 900 in total.
900 more?
Droplets? Yeah, so that basically means you can just fully deck this guy out with Arcane without Yeah, as long as you just have the money. So that does mean that would be a huge boost for your damage on your character. The other thing is that if you are waiting for that for too long, that will also mean that you are like gimping your progress in the short and the midterm, right? So we want to kind of find a healthy balance between those things. So I'm just going to look through everything.
Yeah, I know if I start clearing Lucid, I can start buying the Arcane gear.
Yeah.
Because I'm already stacked on the river droplets. I have almost 400.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, and there will be a droplet exchange as well, so you'll be able to just buy any of them from the shop. All of them will be the same value. You'd basically see them on the same pile, but it will be important, yeah, to start running normal Lucid and Will to make sure that you can stack up on the boss versions of the droplets so that you can be able, so you're actually able to purchase and use the equips, yeah. But I think this will allow you to deck out other characters as well with all the droplets, and if you buy out the droplets from the shop. There's where the extra crit rate is coming from. You have 10% on your weapon. Because I was thinking like you would need an extra crit rate link or something somewhere. Because I was thinking you didn't get the compensation weapon. Why did you get the compensation weapon on your...
I put it on my Shadower.
My Shadower, yeah, okay. Yeah, it's a huge boost for a new character like that. Okay, so, Starforce wise, I mean the cape, right? I would safeguard the cape because doing all those weeklies over and over every time is just yikes. That's only like the one item that you really want to use that isn't 17, right? I guess you could make an argument for getting the other monocle and the other tattoo up to 17 as well, because eventually you're going to be rolling, making sure that when you can make the drop in Mezzo set that you get them to a line of drop or Mezzo plus a line of intellect, ideally, right? Because you have 9 equips, all of them get a line of intellect. That means you get 80 plus intellect, percentage intellect on top, which means that when you switch to mobbing gear, you're not incredibly weak. That means you can just keep all the drop rate gear on when you're bossing and, for your weekly bosses. Not for your, the harder party bosses, of course, but for the weekly bosses, you don't have to switch all your equips and everything. You can kind of stay decently strong, and runs won't take forever. Other than that, the star forcing is pretty much on point. I guess the kind of treasuring. You have 1 for damage, 1, yeah. So there is a 5, 10, 15 event coming. How much money are we sitting on right now?
60 billion?
60 or 16?
60. Somewhere
Okay.
around 60.
Yeah, so I'd probably use the upcoming 5, 10, 15 to just get all of the items to 17, pretty much. Even the drop rate items. Because eventually 17 will become standard for drop rate stuff anyway. Because all the other stuff is going to go over 17. So the main thing will be... and you did have Dominator backups, right? Or at least...
I have 1 Dominator.
1. Yeah. So...
And I could craft them, I think, right? Or do you
yeah,
not
but
want to
typically you don't want to because it costs a bunch of primals, and you want to use those primals to make Meister rings instead. So if you get very lucky and you get a lot of Kana treasure rings, and that means you don't need the primals for the Meister rings, then you could say you're going to use the primals for a Dominator. But in your current situation, I don't think there's any necessity for that just yet. That's mainly for trying to push... So the time where you would need a bunch of extra Dominators is if you're trying to push for a 22 Dominator to transfer hammer into a 21 Superior Pendant. Like, that's the area where you would use that. So that's still a long way from now. So you still have a bunch of time to do Arc every day and hopefully get a bunch more Dominators over time, right?
Okay.
And then you want to use your...
Arc daily?
Yeah, normal Arc daily, yeah.
Oh, I thought it was a weekly.
Yeah. Oh yeah,
I
no, that's a
think
good idea to do daily because he can drop some other good stuff as well. So it's a good one to have in your daily rotation. Yeah, but you know about Princess No, about the extra rings I see, so you already have some of those, that's nice. But yeah, so for the coming 5, 10, 15, I would focus on just popping everything to 17, and I would safeguard. It costs you extra money, but for a lot of these things, you don't need to risk booming it just yet. Like, You know, the extra superior pendant, you don't want to risk booming, of course. The kind of treasurings, even though you have backups, you're going to be pushing past 17 later. And if you do get lucky and you get like 20 or 21 on it, you want to get another one very high up as a kind of treasuring anyway to transfer hammer into your superior ring, so you don't have to blow that one up. So you do want to keep backups. And basically for all of these items, it's more expensive, of course, to safeguard to 17, but the price that you pay, price not in Mezzo, but like the general price that you pay by booming it and missing like weeks or months of progress for these time-gated backups, that's a larger price to pay, in my opinion, than the extra Mezzo, especially if you have 60 bill right now that you can spend on it.
Okay. With the extra Arcanas, should I just start star forcing them to like 21?
That depends. Usually I wouldn't do that with like a side ring, only if you're doing that for the purpose of transfer hammering into the superior, because if you want to get your damage ring to 21, I would always just do it on the one you already have, because then if it blows up, you get the trace and then you save the potential, right? Otherwise you'll have to redo your potential again.
Okay. Okay, that makes sense. Then you just lose 5 stars. Or for me.
Yeah, you go back down to 12, yeah. But then you start from 12, but the main thing is that you don't have to restart your potential. And all of that money invested gets kept. So that is something that you could do with the rings also during the 5, 10, 15. But we'll make like a general priority list, right? So like first on a priority list would be getting like Superior Pendant, the 2 kind of treasures, the... what is it? I would probably do the Sweetwater Tattoo and a monocle as well, and then the cape, and just safeguard and get all of those to 17. Like that's where I would start for the 5, 10, 15 event. And then from there on out, you probably have a bunch of backups for CRA, right?
Yes, I have. Where are they? Are they in used?
Used, yeah.
158, 188, 188, 158, 150. Oh wait.
Yeah, the other one's for pieces of destruction, right? So that one.
I'm looking at some of the sickness ones. So 158, 158, 158, 140.
Yeah. All right. So that's like 30 plus backup. So that's fine. So after you spend that money, because we're not going super hard on Abzo because of this transition into Arcane, what we're going to do is we're going to go very hard on the items that you do have and the ones that you have backups of. So do you also have backup recipes to make shields?
Yes, I have a stack of them somewhere.
Yeah, okay. Well, as long as you can find that stack, I guess. Because the main thing that we're going to try to do is to get the items where you have the most backups the highest, right? So we're going to throw money at CRA, at those 3 pieces. And we're going to do the hat because you're going to, if you move into Arcane, you're going to switch back into the CRA hat anyway, so the hat stays. So the hat, the top, the bottom, and then the shield. Those 4 will be like the priorities because we have the most backups, and the finish line is like visible. It's like doable. We're not trying to get any arcanes to 22 here. Just like shield stops at 20, and then the CRA stuff I would also aim for 20 or 21. That's definitely all doable within your budget.
Okay. So practically make a bunch of pants, hats, and
yeah. So you don't have to make those, but just like Star Force on what you have, and then if it blows up, you get the trace. You make a new one, transfer the trace over, and then just start over on the new one. Don't fill up your entire inventory, because you're going to transfer the trace anyway, so whatever flame you get on there or something, it doesn't matter.
Okay. That's I can make a...
Yeah, so you only have to make as many as booms that you get. And usually what happens is the items you have the most booms on, you take the most risks on, you don't get any booms, but then the items that are very hard to replace, that you have almost no backups for, those tend to boom a lot. So prepare for that mentally.
Abso cape?
Yeah, like an Abso cape, or like the Sweetwater tattoos and monocles, where you need to do weeklies for a while, or dailies for weeks, to get all the dineros, or the superior stuff. Like that's the stuff that's going to boom. And for Abso, it's like 1 or 2 booms to get to 21 or 22 when you have 100 backups in your inventory. Yeah. Or Dominators, yeah. Oh, Dominators love blowing up for sure, yeah. So because we have the backups for those, that's where we're going to aim high. So I probably do 1 star at a time per item. So like try to get all the CRA to 18, get it all to 19. You know, with the shield, basically just those 4 items, just 1 star per thing at a time. If it booms, just restart and get to the number. That way you can make sure that even if you get very unlucky with an item, you will at least have made general progress for your account versus if you get super unlucky with one item and you end up, you know, for God forbid, throwing all your money at one item and you don't get it, then you're still stuck with everything else 17. Whereas if you do like 1 star at a time, it's impossible to get so unlucky that nothing goes past 17, so that at least you'll make more gains from your total money. With that in mind, though, before all the money goes into there, we want to make sure that we have the full set for when you're training. So we want to have 5 lines of Meso Obtain and 4 lines of Drop Rate in a set of 9 accessories that you wear exclusively when you're mobbing. So that would be 1 Superior Pendant, right?
Yes, I'm aiming to get another Sweetwater pendant.
Yeah, so I don't know if that's necessary because the dineros are going to... later on, you're going to use the dineros for backups of blowing up pendants and monocles and tattoos. And I think what more people use, what I think is fine, is either to use a greed pendant or if you have a backup dominator, use that one temporarily.
Okay, you get the...
Oh yeah, sorry. By the way, on Star Force, on Star Force event also, I've got the Dominator to 16 because that's what you want to transpose at. So we want to make sure that one is fixed at 16, and then all you have to do is flame until you get a nice flame between 105 and 115 flame score, and then you can transpose it into the Sweetwater, and then you can start working on the Sweetwater afterwards.
Okay.
Yeah. Sorry. So which equips... Yeah, so what were you thinking about the pendant? Sorry, I interrupted you.
The pendant. Is it permanent or do you have to buy it every...
You mean the second slot?
Pendant?
Oh, the greed pendant. No, that's a permanent one, yeah. Yeah, it's
You
kind of a
buy
gimmicky
ones,
pendant, so it seems weird, but yeah, no, that's permanent. Yeah.
Okay, so I could buy one of those, then
Mm-hmm.
I use that as a drop pendant.
Yeah. So depending on if
Okay.
it gets Meso or Drop, we'll see how that goes with the combination. So you have a Superior and a Greed. And then ring-wise, you have the Cosmos has Drop. And then you have Drop on Arcana Treasure, Meso on a Vengeful.
Pendant.
And
Yes.
then that's it, right? So you have 1 ring slot available as well?
Yes, I have 2 rings with drop, 1 ring with Meso.
Yeah, so 1 more ring needs to be prepped for that. I wouldn't start working on Meister. Are you participating in the current event? Would you are you planning on maybe buying one of the big event rings on the Fire Poison?
I am maxing out on the stones.
Mm-hmm.
All of them but the blue stones.
Yeah.
Or the red ones.
Yeah, fuck those blue stones. All those mini games.
I did it like once and it took me like 20 minutes. I was like, I'm not doing this.
Yeah.
I looked at the rewards. I'm like,
Yeah, if it's not for you, then don't do that. If it's for you, of course, you have my blessing, chat, people at home. But yeah, if it's not for you, then don't waste your time on it, because it'll be waste, right? If you don't want the rewards. But I would suggest buying one of those big rings. You can choose whichever one. There's a Tenebris, the Glory, and the Awake. You don't have either one, so whichever one you pick, they're all the same stats, so it doesn't matter. But you have to buy one of those ring selector coupons, and then you just double-click and pick one of the 3. So that would be like your 4th ring, so that one would get either Meso or Drop. And then we have your Eye and Face. You have one of each, right?
Iron Face. Yeah, I have a Sweetwater.
Drop on one. Oh, drop on both, yeah. So eventually you want to get to the point where you have 5 items with Meso, 4 with Drop. If you have more with Drop, which you probably will have, I think, because you have Drop is a little bit heavy, then I would use cubes to re-roll the potential on the items that have Drop and don't also have Intellect. I would re-roll those first. And if you get item or Meso with Intellect, then hold on to that and keep re-rolling until you have a set of 5 with Meso, 4 with Drop, or maybe more if you end up getting lucky with Drop and Meso on the same item or something like that, right? That's always more valuable than 1 line with Intellect. You know, if you can get 2 drop, 2 mezzo, or drop and mezzo, that's always more valuable. But at least 5 mezzo and 4 drop. And try to get line of intellect on all of them as well. And then once
You
you're
want 2 lines, right?
Hmm?
That's what my goal was, to get 2 good lines on each item.
Yeah,
when I
yeah.
was
And drop and
rolling.
mezzo would count as 1 line, and intellect would count as a 2nd line, yeah.
If I get a double line and drop a meso,
Mhm.
should I aim for an intellect line as a
No,
second line?
no,
Or should
then intellect is just off the board.
I...
Drop
Okay.
or yeah, and if you get like drop and like technically you can get 3 lines of mezzo, or you can get drop drop mezzo, but you know that's minuscule.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So it's 5 meso, 4 drop.
Yeah,
that what
because you
you
can
said?
get up. Yeah, you can get up to 100 mezzo obtained from equips, so that's where you want to max on.
Do you want to try to get 5 lines of drop too, or no?
So eventually, the further you go, you know, if you get some items with double lines, then you'll get more eventually. Eventually, if you want to min-max on getting more from bosses and stuff, you can get up to 200% drop rate from equips. So you could go for up to 10 lines of drop as well to min-max on getting soul shards from Lucid, or, you know, getting the items that do benefit from drop rate right now is like flames and cubes. However, flames and cubes are going to get removed from boss drops that that KMS has done already. So the value of like a full drop set is kind of going down as we're moving forward. So that might not be the best investment at well, definitely not the best investment for you at this state, but in general might not be an insanely good investment. Also because we're moving into like the new area in Grandis, right? And they do have nodes there, but you don't seem to be starved for nodes at all. And they don't drop droplets anymore, but you know the stores give insane amounts, and they don't drop cards there. So that makes drop rate comparatively in value also lower, and you will need damage gear to be able to even kill there. So so there are situations where you could go for like a full drop set as well, specifically for bossing to try to min-max getting drops, but that's getting less and less valuable.
Okay.
So I think when it comes to drop and mezzo. Oh yeah, and then an earring, right? You'll need an earring with drop or mezzo line. I don't know if you already have any.
Earring?
Do you have another earring already that is maybe tiered up?
No tier. The only earring I have is my superior Gauntlet's earring.
Right. I see you don't have backup earrings. If you're doing Halux, I would implore you to save all reinforced earrings.
Okay, the feather ones.
The feather
Yeah,
ones?
like
No. The reinforced, the drop from Halux, the blue.
Oh, Helix. Okay,
yeah,
so 150 earrings.
Yes. Well, 140.
140.
So that you can mass Star Force those later, and then transfer hammer into superior without having to risk blowing up your superior.
Okay, and then should I aim for drop gear on that at all, or no?
You could do well,
that'd be 10 items, I guess. No, that'd be 9.
Yeah, 9. You want to get 9 items, like 5 mezzo, 4 with drop. So those 9, right? Like 4 rings, 2 pendants, eye face, and then the earring. Those 9 equips.
Okay, so I need to get a secondary earring then. I can
Yeah,
use the boss earring on the side, or would you suggest not using it?
it can be any earring, honestly. Like if it's if you have one from Hilla or one from Chaos Horntail or something, that's probably fine too. If you do have one of those that you're going to use, then add those to the list on 5, 10, 15 to get to 17, so that you don't lose too much damage when you're mobbing.
Okay. Okay, so
Um,
17 stars.
Yeah, I guess so for backups for advice and for dailies and stuff, because I guess to consolidate that a little bit. So make sure you do normal arc daily. That's important. And for you're doing Helix, make sure that you save the earrings. Make sure that you save Dominators, but that's part of arc. The narrows will be important later to be able to buy backups. Don't buy an extra pendant, just keep this one. This Dominator pendant is going to 16 during the event, and then once you have a good flame between 105 and 115 flame score, transpose it into the Sweetwater, and then you can reroll that Sweetwater to become your second damaging pendant. and that'll replace whatever the drop rate superior is now, right?
Okay.
For rings, make sure to keep doing Princess No. Once you're trying to push all of the rings and all the accessories and stuff past 17, you want to start looking at making Meister rings, so then you'll need the primals, and that also comes from Arc, so that's linked there. But since you already have good rings, overall you have the rings that you have now, so Star Force on the ones that you have the most backups for, and then aim for those first. Star Force on the items themselves for the Kana treasure. For the superior, look for either Kana treasures if you have a lot of backups, or for Meisters to get the high Star Force, and then transfer hammer over into superior, so that you don't have to replace those, because that's very expensive. And for pendants, for the end game is going to be like backup dominators, high Star Force, transfer hammer into the superior pendant, and then redo the potential afterwards. That's like in the long term, the more efficient approach there.
Okay.
Yeah, for flames I wouldn't go too crazy. Yeah, you do have a bunch of things that could be flamed a little bit better, but as you boss more, that'll just slowly work its way up the totem pole, little by little.
I just flame if I get flames, I just use them on my worst item,
Mm-hmm.
and that's how I use them.
Yep.
And hopefully my worst item improves, and I move on to my
hopefully.
next item.
Exactly, yeah. Yeah, that's fine. But your glove is an Abzo glove that's like anvil, right?
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
okay.
absolute gold. I saw that you went crit damage on it.
Yes.
Should I switch? I have 20% intel on it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, crit damage will, and specifically, I mentioned before, right, that your critical damage is a little bit on the low side. That's probably because of this. It's probably because you don't have the Kinesis link, and because of you do have the other three boys, right, like the Jet, Shade, and Hayato. You have all three of those in your Legion board.
I have, yes, Jet Shade. Yes, they should be on my Legion board.
Yeah. Yeah, as long as you're aware of those three, yeah. But yeah, the other thing would be to try to get 2 lines of crit damage on your glove. But I would hold off on that on this one, honestly. I would just wait until you can afford the weapon and the glove from Lucid, and then just go hard on the Arcane once you get that one.
Okay, so as soon as I'm able to get the weapon and the glove, to get crit damage on them?
Yeah,
Or
crit damage on the glove, yeah. And for weapon, mainly magic attack. And then if you switch out the magic attack and then the crit rate goes away, that's when you might have to think about either crit rate in the inner ability, but that's like super, super rare, super difficult. But probably the extra link skill, right?
Okay. Like Phantom Instincts or something.
Yeah, Phantom Instinct. And
if I get enough crit rate, I can switch it out. If I don't, I use it instead.
Yeah. Exactly.
Okay, that makes that. I will do those switches and see how it it works.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, so that's for the upcoming event and the longer term potentials. Crit looks good. ID looks good. Yeah, I wouldn't go too crazy on the Abzo stuff. There's definitely like some gains to be made, right, with flames and everything, but with where you're at, if your BA is like okay, so with like all of these changes, the BA and then the well, you can do your BA now and then do the 5, 10, 15, right? And then check your BA after, and then all these changes and stuff. I think you will find that you're probably strong enough to be able to part of at least the hard lucid runs, as long as you play your character well. And then the main thing is going to be to get enough arcane power to also get into hard lucid, and then at that point, you're going to be working on getting into the arcane stuff. The weapon is going to give you a huge attack boost, and then the glove with the critical damage, and then all of that stuff, with the 21 star CRA, 20 star shield. The next stuff that you might work on before the winter, right, might be on the accessories, depending on how many backups you have. And then when the winter hits, full arcane switcheroo going on. And then, with the extra levels you've gotten before then, that should set you up, I believe, for like the Tenebris bosses.
Okay, so on the how much damage you said is necessary in order to get past that 40-second period you're talking about?
40-second period. Oh god.
You said for there's a wheel you have to do a certain amount of damage in order to pass.
Oh, yeah. Will has like HP bars that are chalked up in bits, and you have to make sure that all of the current bits that you're at are completely on 0 at the time that he does like a check for damage. And if they are, he does like, there's a little test. You have to survive the test, and if everyone in your party survives the test, you get to chip away at the next part of the HP bar. So all of his HP bars are in between. Oh, you talk about Hard Lucid. Oh, right, the 40 seconds you mean on Hard Lucid at the end? That you're doing the BA for. Is that what you meant?
Yes. How much damage should I be aiming for?
So you kind of DPM-y because you have low cooldowns on your 5th job skills, but because of Infinity, you're still would be considered a burst character. So I think you want to be 2.5 trill probably. If you're going like towards 3, that would be great, but like 2.5 would be probably the minimum requirements to be able to be part of a party like that.
Okay.
And the 27k stat might be a bit rough, but like with the Star Forcing event and that, I think you should get pretty close to that. But yeah, make sure that Infinity, you know, like last minute or something, you pop all those bursts, you get that Arachnid Reflection in there. Should be good.
Okay. I will do that.
You will do all of those things. That was a lot, right?
I wrote most of them down, so
Yeah.
I'll try to do some of them.
Well, if you forget anything, I'll make sure to upload it all to YouTube as well. Oh, are you working on the monster marker medal, by the way?
Not.
Sounds like
really.
a no. Yeah. Well, there's 10% IED there if you get that one. Goes at the expense of very little damage, but it gives you 10% IED. And for the late game, end game, you know, the higher number IED that you're going for, in general, that's a good idea to go for. But you know, that's one more of those daily things to add to the list. So, you know, make sure that you stay in control of which things you do every day, which things you don't do every day. But just know that those options are there. If you have, you know, limited time or you don't feel like grinding, but there's still something you can still do in a small amount of time to get some progress there.
Okay. I think I've been using the monster park to level, to be honest. So.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, but most of the characters are 200 now, right? So.
Yeah, I have 4 who are not there yet, or 3 now.
Mm-hmm.
My Adele is 210, so he's over 200 now. My Shade is 189. Kadina's is 146.
Mm-hmm.
I think.
Well, you're not gaining much there, right?
For
the, I guess you're just aiming there for the member bonus luck. So.
I just want all my members to be at 200, so I don't need my Shadow. I want to play my Shadow War, and Kadina gives extra luck.
Yep.
Right? I think.
Yeah, in the member bonus, yeah.
So I want to put him on the board. Practically is what that is. So it's like a min-max, I guess, for the board.
Yeah. But yeah, it is like 77 clears for every single day for Monster Park, so it is quite a while. But yeah, if you feel like you're pretty close to being done, then you know you can start it in a bit. All right.
A long way.
Yeah, a long way. All right, we went over time by quite a bit, so I'm gonna give you the last word. If there's anything else you have any questions about right now, otherwise, because we have Guild PQ in 10 minutes, so we gotta make sure that we're in time. On time.
No, I do not have anything.
Nothing? Going once?
Nope.
Going twice?
I wrote my notes down. I think I'm good.
You're good? All right. Well, I'm going to upload it to YouTube anyway, so if there is something, you can always double check there. You can listen to how you sound for stream, which is always interesting to hear.
Okay.
And but yeah, I wish you good luck with all of this. A lot of stuff to do, but you have a very solid foundation, and you have a lot of stuff to work with. So I believe that you know, with enough practice, you know, looking at some boss fights and practicing it, you just have to have some first-hand experience when it comes to some bosses. You can read all the guides you can, but unless you go in there with a party and you just try it and you learn from your mistakes, you just never really get past those points. So just try, have fun, and yeah, you know where to find parties, right? Look in all the places that are available.
Yes, I just joined the MapleStory chat thing like a week ago.
The
So.
Discord.
Yes.
Mhm.
I can't remember what it's called, but the reboot one.
Yep.
So it's been very helpful.
Yeah, between there, my Discord, the chat, the guild. You know, if you pick one person up from all of those places, you already have 5 people, so that's already a solid place to start.
Okay.
All right. Well, yeah, if anything comes up, let me know. I'll always be streaming, always be here, so you can always message me. And I wish you the best of luck on everything.
Yeah, thank you. You have a good day.
All right, you too. Bye.
Bye.
All right. Slightly longer session again than normal. My bad. My bad. But, you know, I feel like we have to go over everything. But yeah. Interesting mismatch in some stuff here, but this is a pretty old character that he came back to. He got to 250 a long time ago and then played a bunch of other stuff, so you'll see that if you come back to a character when you haven't played it for a year or almost 2, that your gear can be pretty mismatched too. So that means that we can just correct that mismatch first, and that will give a very good solid baseline, and then we can start working from there. But very solid basics to work on, and to definitely get into Hard Lucid and Hard Will, I think, in a pretty short amount of time. Familiars is going to be room for growth, but yeah, we talked about all of that. I'm not going to recap the whole session. You guys just watched the whole session. So if you want one of these sessions as well, if you want to join the NA or Reboot chapters of my guild, or if you have information for me in forms of battle analysis, monster skill per hour in 5th job areas, or Tenebris or New Grandis training videos, links for all of that to find those information about that are all in the description of the stream. And I will thank you for watching. I hope this was educational for you guys, and I'll see you on the next one.